Welcome to Dwarven Forge Live. This is On the Anvil episode 25, 6?
26 is what I have down here. It's possible I'm wrong about it.
No, I'm always wrong about it. Episode 26 of On the Anvil. This is the show where we take you behind the curtain here at Dwarven Forge and show you what we're working on, talk about what's coming up next. Just basically hang out. We have a beer and talk about game geekery.
Talk about game. We actually were just like last 5 minutes before we went live was actually just talking about a bunch of different war games and board games and stuff.
From Hero Quest to Risk to Hero Escape
to Warfish. Yeah.
Best.
There's a lot of stuff I want to play, man.
And not enough time.
Not enough time, and not enough people I'm allowed to have in one room at the moment.
Thanks to the internet, though.
Yeah. You can still do a lot of it. I've been playing Frostgrave and Relic Blade digitally through Tabletop Simulator. That's been pretty fun. Hamster and I did some Relic Blade like last week. It was really good. The guy that actually made the game made all the assets and like put scenarios and stuff up on Tabletop Simulator.
He's really dedicated, right?
Yeah, it's a one guy operation.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He is the relic. So what are we doing tonight? What's on the agenda?
So the big thing is we're going to be talking a lot about Plaguestone today because that just hit the store. So after we cover like general news stuff,
4 hours ago.
4 hours ago, yeah.
And it's not sold out yet. Yay!
Yeah, it's still there. We'll talk about a lot of it in depth. But first, let's get through the news items that we have, and then we'll. We have a button for that. I should just equip a bunch of sound effects on this.
Yes.
And get that going. So, it's a fairly tame news week this week.
In the world of Dwarven Forge.
In the world of Dwarven Forge, yes. There's a lot going on outside of this, but we're not going to talk about all that.
We're in the bubble.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is, Plaguestone hit the store today. It's seemed to have gone pretty smoothly.
Yep.
People seem to have been happy from most of what I've been seeing. I know.
Let's talk about Plaguestone when we get to Plaguestone.
Yeah, we'll talk about Plaguestone then.
That won't be news. That'll be the main event.
I've got a couple of things here. Do you want to show them the casting, the dice casting now?
So we got so we just sent out our Wildlands update. We have from our friends at Die Hard Dice. I did not set a good light for these.
Getting close.
So these are our first castings of the Horizon dice. Jessie over at Die Hard Dice, she's working hard on doing the color inlay, so we'll have some color samples. But they're like, they feel so good in the hand. Like
they're nice and hefty, right? Like they're bigger than the average D20.
Yeah, by a lot.
They got more heft to them.
And is that upside down? That's right side up. Yeah, they're very, very exciting to hold and to roll. And yeah, we can't wait to. We'll show you the. Where's this book? As soon as we have one, and as soon as we have them colored, inked up, we'll show you those. Yeah, very exciting. Horizon dice. I don't think anybody's done Horizon dice before.
I haven't seen anything on the market that's looked like these. That's one of the things that's coolest about it, especially like just working all the terrain into it. I'm really happy about them. I'm putting them in my own order.
Yeah, they're dynamite. We got the Crimson Claw Wyvern is on there.
Yeah, there's all these little details and stuff that are just like cool little Easter eggs for fans.
Driftstones. Where's the ruins? The ruins are on here somewhere. The ruins. It's a little hard to see on the.
It'll be easier once it's all painted.
Yeah.
Or colored, I guess.
Got Shimmer Fronds on here. The Glam Relief.
Will they be balanced? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing is they figured out how to.
Yeah, Todd is a dark wizard of balance.
Yeah. I call dice like those wormwood destroyers.
Geomancer. Yeah. Well, the trays they have the leather on the bottom, but yeah, these things do some. They'll let your tray know about it. They'll let your wooden table know about it too. I wouldn't roll on a wooden table.
It's gonna be very loud on mic. I'm gonna have to be careful about those.
It's gonna be awesome.
Actually. Yeah, so those are fun.
Yeah.
So another thing is, even though Plaguestone just came out today, we've got another restock coming up soon. We've got our Caverns Deep restock will be hitting next week. The container just arrived, so it looks like everything's on schedule.
Well, it's a week late, but on schedule.
It's on schedule. It's on schedule to be online in time.
Yeah. We were hoping to have it up for next week, and we're just sneaking in under the gun. They may actually. So the container just hit the warehouse today. It takes them a little while to receive it. They have to like unpack and inventory everything, get it in their system, whatever. So it's going to go live next week, but it might not ship out that same day. Like it might take them they might be a couple of days behind. But
which we usually have like such lightning fast shipping. Like usually, I know people for the Hellscape restock, they're surprised like they were getting the stuff that they ordered like on Friday.
Yeah.
When the restock went up.
Yeah, they're gonna, and they're also gonna be backed up because it's Black Friday week and whatever. So it might take a little bit. But when we have the new, what's exciting in there is the new Cavern Core sets are in there, which maybe we'll look at those next week. Maybe I'll build something with those next week.
You can do that, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to show them, I don't know where, they're in the other room. But we remastered some of the original Caverns pieces, new paint job, anchor magnets. It's like the best of collection of Caverns Deep and original Caverns. Like, they're awesome.
Very and then the new Dread Hollow is next month, yeah? It's not, new Dread Hollow isn't in with this one?
We don't know because the container isn't here yet. So,
fair.
And it's also the busiest shipping time, so I don't know. Hopefully, so the bad news we got is holiday shipping cutoff from our web store is December 9th, which is like, that's really soon. And I think the earliest the Dread Hollow stuff will get into the store would be December 1st, and realistically it's probably going to be the 4th or something. I don't know. It all depends on when the container arrives. But
so we want to be able to have the Dread Hollow stuff up in time for you to be able to order it and get it by Christmas.
Yep.
But
worst case it comes after.
We're at the whims of the reality of what shipping things is like right now. Yeah. Like I think every shipment we've gotten has been delayed quite a bit.
And we have a couple of new sets in there. Dread Hollow dressing set where we reconfigured some stuff, and I don't remember what else is in there. We'll have to look at it when we get there. Yeah. But the caverns one that's coming next week, we did a reconfigure on the Crooked Caverns pack, which is awesome. We have these new Caverns Core packs, and then it's about 20 different Caverns Deep sets that are coming in with some good quantities. So that's something I look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all of our restock stuff. We did the dice.
Oh, we didn't talk about Pledge Manager.
Oh yeah. Also, the Pledge Manager.
4 days. Yeah. 4 days left. It is this Sunday at 11 p.m. Eastern. So get your orders in. And I know people are waiting for info on the terrain trays, which we don't have anything conclusive yet. We're still trying to hammer that out, which I know it's rough. Like it's hard to tell people, hey, complete your order when there's some mystery bits. The resin sets, we don't have finals on those yet, but we're gonna reopen whenever we have the finals to show, so you can add those if you didn't add them. And what were the other mystery bits with the Pledge Manager?
There was one other thing, the casting color regarding Aaron Thor.
We want it to be in the original Aaron Thor casting color, which is a slightly lighter gray than go to the right. So this is like our standard dungeon gray, and this is like Aaron Thor gray, which is a slightly bluer, slightly lighter gray. But once again, it all depends. We don't know our casting quantities until we actually get into production, because it's a giant video game, right? They have all these orders, and they're like, how do we maximize the molds for maximum efficiency and the flow of colors and the thing? Like, it's a whole, like, trying to figure out that whole the super efficient way to do that. We won't know till we're
because basically everything in the same mold has to be cast in the same color.
Yeah,
and so.
Well, and then you have to clear, if you're going to change the color, you have to change, it's a whole day to clear out all the tubes and all the stuff and whatever. So you're balancing the efficiency of the casting against the efficiency of the painting. Because sometimes if it saves you a lot on painting, like if you don't have to do a base coat, it's worth shutting down the factory for a day to change over the color if it means it's going to speed up all your painting and all these pieces. But if you like, but depends. So it depends on the quantity and depends on how many other different things we have in that color. And so, I don't know. It's like a whole, yeah.
And then with Wildlands specifically, it's also kind of weird to think about as well because the biomes here mix so much. Like there's Aranthor stone in the forest and swamp, and
it's all like yeah.
So,
well, they don't even care. Like they're just looking at a massive spreadsheets of like, here's all these things, and they're arranging these molds and this thing, this, and we need this quantity of this and that. You know, and that's the other thing is you might have a quantity. You know, we might need to make 20,000 of this rock, but only 20 of this rock, but they're in this. But they wouldn't put them in the same mold in that case. But you know, there's just there. It's It's a very advanced video game for adults that has no real fun end to it.
It's entirely inventory management.
Yeah, the ultimate puzzle.
It's a game made of menus.
A game made of menus.
Yeah. EVE Online, that's what it is. It's EVE Online. You don't know what it is, that's fine.
I'm totally like...
It's let's see. What else we got here? Pledge manager ending, casting color. I think that's all the stuff related to our own stuff. So
should we venture into the outside world?
Yeah, let's talk about our friends. Our friends at Steamforged, working on Bard Song. We talked about that before. Their Kickstarter for Bard Song, it's doing really well. They're over 600K. They still got 8 days left if you want in on that.
They're unlocking cool heroes.
But the best thing is they just released a Kickstarter, I believe, or a Kickstarter. They just released a demo. they put out a demo that you can play. I think today, maybe yesterday.
Yeah, it's today.
So I'm looking forward to playing it. I'd like to get my hands on it.
Yeah.
So if you're interested at all in that, go check out the demo. And
here's some you want some cool secret surprise news.
Sure.
That we haven't told the world yet. You guys are first here.
Are we doing something with Bard Song?
Yes. Eli and I are going to design an adventure for it.
I didn't know this.
Right, because it's not public yet. We didn't tell anybody. Well, we just try to hammer.
Why are we putting it out right now?
Oh, are people watching? Is there anybody out there?
Yeah, we're live.
Well, hey,
it's only 83 people.
Okay, good. So they don't tell anybody. But we're gonna they'll put an announcement in a couple of days.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things. Well, it's thanks for they sculpted the dragon for us. So we're gonna do. They're bringing a bunch of guest people. Like Luke Gygax is doing an adventure, and like they have a bunch of guest folks coming in. So we're gonna do a really cool, devious, crazy adventure. And I don't know if it's all gonna pan out, but the thought was because it doesn't come out till March of 2022. That's when it ships. So we have a year and change. The crazy idea is to do an add-on pack. They won't sell it now. Like we have time. Stuff for the game, cool accessories for the game, so that you can buy the thing. Yeah.
It's just add another thing onto the.
Yeah.
When are we gonna do sci-fi?
Anytime. Well, yeah. No, good. It'll probably be some reconfigs of some other things, and like I don't think it's going into new, but I don't know. We'll see how it all comes together because we've been dying to do. We want to do something with their epic encounters. Do like a terrain tie-in with their epic encounters, which is
dude. The epic encounter stuff looks really good. They just released You saw the Frost Giant too. Mm-hmm. We were talking about it on the Discord. That is a ridiculously detailed mini.
Yeah, it's beautiful. In PVC nonetheless, not even resin. It's like
I just love their minis. I honestly think that was one of my favorite streams that we did during Wildlands. Yeah, was one with
Russ is awesome.
That was a great stream.
Yeah,
I really like that.
Well, we got a lot. We got some things brewing with those folks. And we should talk. We need to do an episode talking about sci-fi. Speaking of sci-fi, because it's a whole. We were looking at it as a team. Was it last? Time is a blur right now. I don't know what.
The meetings were last week.
Was it really
last Tuesday? It's only been 8 days. It's only been 8 days since that conversation.
Well, we did 2 days of brainstorming to talk about the next Kickstarter and sort of next everything. Right? It was Future Sight. We're talking about looking at the results of the survey, whatever. And one of our topics was the sci-fi set, and it's a can of worms. Yeah.
So we're canceling sci-fi. We're not canceling. No, we're not.
It's just like it's a lot. Like it's not just sort of a simple. Well, I don't know. There's a lot to think. So it'll be a fun episode. We should do a sci-fi episode.
We want it to succeed. So there's a lot of thought about like how to approach it.
There's
I think we have an open week coming up that we could use for it.
Week after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because Felipe's the 9th.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think
That
I think the
week
second we
after,
have open, so we could do it on the
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk sci-fi after Thanksgiving.
Excellent. I had one other piece of news on here that's less news and more just like a cool thing, but it's also related to our friends at Steam.
We like cool things.
Yeah, we like cool things. If you remember when we did the stream with Russ, if you saw that one, he talked about how they worked on making some wheelchair minis. And recently, if you're a fan of Critical Role, Matt Mercer actually posted pictures of a wheelchair mini that he'd been painting. So, I'm going to go ahead and put that up.
It was the NPC guide for the...
Something
for the
under
group,
Thorn.
right? Under something. Yeah.
Under Thorn. It's like, look at
Awesome.
that. I've been really happy with the minis. So I got the 4 that they put out so far. And, like, the level of detail on these minis, they're like the most detailed that I've gotten. I also like that he used the same base that I used for my wheelchair mini. This paint job is like, it's just
Do
ridiculous.
they come with different scenic
I
bases?
love it. So they all have like rock bases like this, but most of them are like kind of even like craggy bases.
Right. This is like the crazy...
The one that this one is on it's just a downward slope.
It's awesome.
So it's just the barbarian's just on a downward slope. This is a really cool mini.
It's awesome.
I don't know.
It's just fun details.
It made me like metal minis a little more. Like I'm starting to see like why metal minis can be cool. Because when I painted my first metal mini, which was like an elk from Reaper, I hated it just because like painting metal is just so much harder. I feel like, but
Well, once you prime it, it's the same. Yeah.
yeah, but even that, it's just it feels harder to work with for me. But working with the wheelchair minis actually made me like it a lot more. Like I get metal now.
I have... What's so awesome is that who knows? It's maybe when I'm like 80 and retired. I still have a huge bunch. Probably think all of. I don't know. I haven't actually cracked open in a while, but I've got all my metal minis from 80s, late 80s, early 90s, back when they were made of lead, which was wonderfully dangerous and perfect and amazing. And I most of them are unpainted. Go figure. So that'd be look forward to painting a bunch of those old Ralpartha and Grenadier. Like you want to hear dangerous. Like so my buddy's dad was a carpenter, and he was like the reckless dad. You know how there's always like the kind of fun reckless dad. Like he was the guy that was like gave us the recipe for gunpowder. And he's like, but don't do what I did. I just put everything in a mortar and pestle and like banged it together and blew off my eyebrows. And like, he's like, so he showed us like this waterfall he found in the woods that you could jump off of and be like, oh yeah, here's a good place, but don't go here without any grown-ups. And like, he's the guy that took us LARPing when I was 14 and like dropped us off to go for, he's like, all right, you good luck with these, all these, we were 14. He just dropped us off in the woods and he's like, I'll be back in 48 hours, don't die. And, but he was like, he saw that we were into all these minis. And so he's like, wait, you're paying like, $3 a piece for these things? You could just make them. So he had us like, we got like chisels and stuff and tried to like make molds out of wood, which of course like, I was trying to make like a slime and didn't. So then he was like, you can make this. And then he got like, I don't know where he had all this lead, but he started melting lead. So like in his like workshop in the basement in like a tin can and just like a coffee can full of like molten hot lead, and it was just like pouring lead into these like these wood molds that we like sort of done, and there was like spilling out all of it like liquid like napalm, like look at none of the minis came out well, but nobody got maimed or whatever, but like the fumes of like you just like got like a Bunsen burner and like put a coffee can over it with a bunch of lead in it, and it's like indoors. Like, I don't know. It didn't affect me at all, though. So, that's, yeah.
Because you came up perfectly fine.
Well, what were we talking about?
You're raising children.
I know.
You are raising children.
I'm not giving the recipe for gunpowder. Hey, Grayson. I'm not. Yeah. Speaking of children, guess what Grayson's doing right now? Well, I already told you. So I'll tell you. My son is playing his first. He's running a game of Hero Quest right now for my wife and my 4-year-old. He designed a map last night. He was like super excited, and he was trying to give me ideas for what we should do for Bard's Song. And so he's like, forget that. I'm just going to do it myself. And he set up a whole thing last night, and then we took pictures, took it apart, and he's running my wife and Hawken through it, which will be fun because she's she's only played Hero Quest once, and it'll be I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all goes. I can't wait to get the full report. But he was busy setting it up with a big DM screen up and the whole thing. So thus it begins. So good luck. I hope you guys are maybe they're I don't know if they took a break and are watching or not, but.
That's always fun.
All right, so what were we actually talking about when we were before we veered off?
That was the last thing we had to talk about news-wise.
Yes.
Was Matt making
painting
that mini. Where'd you get the name Grayson from? Was it BattleTech related? Or Ryan wants to know. Did you name your child after BattleTech?
You know what? It was Nora Hawken, which there was a mech fighting game called Hawken. Also, which is our other kid.
There are worse BattleTech names you could get.
They were.
This is my child Centurion.
It was just we were kicking around cool names. My wife championed that, it's not related to Dick Grayson from Batman. It's not related. It's just sort of we were just going for things that sounded cool, which is yeah.
Did you guys see your shout out in the World of Critical Role Polygon article? I have not.
No, send it to us.
Yeah, that's I'll have to look at that. That's the. Yeah. I'm assuming Polygon just did like a whole article on. I guess the culture surrounding Critical Role. I'd assume it's a massive thing and pretty prominently featured.
We have some nice pages in the book. The that awesome. What's it? The Critical Role. The I don't know 1.5-inch thick Critical Role tome. That came out. What the heck is it called? Which has a bunch of nice builds that Matt's doing.
All right, I found the shout out part. It's not huge, but it's cool.
What'd they say?
There, in tall banks of cabinets and carefully labeled drawers, wait the 3D pieces that make up the caverns, cathedrals, cliffs, and so many other things besides. Many are made by a company called Dwarven Forge. Some are finds from places like aquarium supply stores. So it's we're
in fine standing right next to the aquarium supply stores. This is.
We didn't really pay them for an ad read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, we pay Sam and we get about the same. So
can we message Polygon and ask for corrections? Can you correct this to Dwarven Forge, makers of the world's finest miniature terrain?
Oh.
Can you? That's really cool though. I'll have to put that in the Slack so everybody can see it.
Oh.
I completely missed that. That's cool. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yay.
It's definitely a plug. Yeah, I'm hoping maybe that'll get some people to check it out. Polygon has a pretty big audience. That's a pretty big site.
That's really cool. Now, if they had a link to like one of the sold out pages of our web store, we'd be
set. They did not link. They could link to. If they just linked it to our store full of
maybe if they linked it to Plaguestone. Product. Hey, speaking of Plaguestone, should we?
Speaking of Plaguestone, let's get into the actual show.
Oh, I forgot the. I was going to print.
I forgot the Plaguestone.
I was gonna print out a thing. Okay. No, we'll talk about a sec. So Plaguestone, right, which we got here. This was the story of Plaguestone is Jason from Paizo pinged us. Geez, I don't know. Time is the thing. Last year was Hellscape, right?
Last summer, July? Yeah, July is... Okay. Yeah, because I lost all of July to Hellscape.
So then it was like the October before that, so 2018. So he said, "Hey, we're working on Pathfinder 2, and we'd love to do something with you guys." And we have a module. We're going to launch with this module called the Fall of Plaguestone. And would you guys be interested in like building the whole module in Dwarven Forge, making all these sets and selling it, whatever? We said, wow, that'd be awesome. Yeah, like can you send us a module? He's like, oh, we didn't write it yet, but would you be interested in the thing? I'm like, yeah, totally. This sounds really cool. I'm like, I don't know about doing the entire module. That sounds a little ambitious. Like, why don't we start with one area and we can work out from there? So.
Could you imagine if we built like every area in Stormking's Thunder?
It's like, no.
The entirety of Rime of the Frost Maiden and Dwarvenite.
So he was, he and I think it was, he and Stefan hang out at every convention or whatever. So I think Stefan already said, oh, we're gonna make everything. Don't worry, like it's gonna be great. And so anyway, that was sort of like, well, when you have something together, come back to us and things. So then it was like, I think in December, he's like, well, I'm still working on it, but I have here's like kind of idea or whatever. I'm like, we've got this big end thing, we've got this big middle thing, we've got all this. I was like, well, this is already way too much. Like, what's your favorite part of the whole thing? And he's like, well, the end thing is just like a big cave thing. He's like, there's this middle part called the pen where they have to like go out into the woods and find this like hidden thing. There's a hidden alchemy lab and all this whatever. And I'm like, all right, well, let's start with that thing, see how long it takes, and maybe we can go out from there. But let's just commit to that and go from there. So he still hadn't written it all out, but he did this. That's what I want to print out. He printed this. It's just this like really rough, like not even rough, like a pretty, but like you just a basic map of like, hey, it's roughly like this. Like there's a forest area into a like sort of mountain area into a cave that has like a dungeon thing under there and whatever. And it was just like great little sketch and like markers. So Toby and I like looked at it, started dissecting it. It was like this perfect thing because it was for like we just finished up Cavern Steep, like we're just getting those pieces, and it was all these different biomes in one thing. It was like we're looking at this. Wait, this is like forest, and then this cliff area could be done with mountains, and then this is caverns, and this is dungeons. It's like how cool to be able to just like throw all 4 environments into one thing. We break each one into separate chunks as like areas, and then could kind of do like a greatest hits collection because it's like okay, it's a chance to kind of do a reconfigure in each of those environments with like neat pieces and kind of focus on pieces that like were harder to get or one thing, and like what do we do for new things. And he had these mutant plants, the poison bloom.
The plants are excellent.
And
the vine lasher.
Vine lasher. Yeah, these are Nina did these things. So he had some very specific plants, and then other than that was super open. Like what was fun is also because it hadn't all been written. Is like we could give him a visual sketch, be like, hey, what about something like this, blah, 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 and like add details in there, and he's like, oh, perfect, and I'll write it in. And then what they did is, I'll get the book. Hang on.
So there are elements of that module that were created from ideas we had.
Hold on, I'm gonna get this. Tell a joke.
Tell a joke. I'm just not that kind of comedian. I am a comedian, but like I'm not that kind of comedian. You just ordered the plants. Excellent. The plants are really great. I actually should be paying more attention to the chat. I got really distracted actually like talking today. Exclamation point joke. What if I did get like a joke bot in here? That could be a lot of fun actually. And that's why it's called Chicago. Hey, how's it going? You missed yeah.
So basically we went back and forth, we made some tweaks, we put in these details, figured out a couple new pieces to do, whatever. And then they, I don't know if you can see, they did the map. We took overhead pictures of the build, and then they hand drew the map to match the Dwarven Forge build, which is really fun.
That is really accurate.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was really fun. It was a fun process, and we got to make some really cool new pieces, and do some neat bits of like doing some best of collections. Like we put in the second part of the mountain part, we put the new large banks in there, which were in Hellscape at the time. Right, we hadn't even these hadn't even come out. We put them in because it was going to be, we were pre-ordering. It was going to be a year and whatever. We were about a year late on launch, but whatever it is what it is. So we had these things in the large banks, which we hadn't even gone out people yet because we figured by the time this was done, then we would made them, and we did. We could expand it on the cages. We did whatever. Also, it was kind of paving the way for some of the wildland stuff. Where the whole forest area was a negative space build, just using terrain trays. With scatter, so it was sort of messing around with, because we wanted to do a whole bunch of things, and we're like, doing sculpted pieces is going to be a bazillion. Plus we didn't have an open clear wilderness piece, so it was going to be all these 3x6s, like it was outrageous. So that sort of led to some of the stuff we were doing in Wildlands. Plus we were doing we'd already started sculpting some Wildlands stuff and figured out the teardrop insert footprint. So Nina made the poison bloom was sort of the first teardrop insert piece. So this people can have this a year before Wildlands. Like you get get a first piece for that. Slash we also was like, we can just make some pieces that we're gonna want to, we can start messing around with stuff for Wildlands or whatever. This cool log was a new.
I remember when
piece in there.
people lost their mind over that log when it got revealed.
It's a great log.
It's
Eli
a beautiful log.
did a really nice log with cute little mushrooms. Other things like it's just it's a perfect sort of partial cover. Good little log. We had, I don't know, what are they called? Oh, these thorn walls. Like Michelle did all these. We sort of expanded our thorn walls that we'd done in Dread Hollow with these curved wall. This guy, like, this was a thing Jason had specifically written in there, was the iris. That was like they would expand or contract. So the idea was you make this thing with these, you do the arch solid, and then when they did the right thing to open it, boop, and you'd pop that in, and now there's a hole through, you can get through. So it was a fun, he had this whole sort of wall of thorns in there, like, oh, we just made a wall of thorns, we want to expand it. This was like a perfect excuse to do that. And then the pen part of the second part was like mountain based. And so we did this mountain terrain tray. Janet did this neat thing where she took the actual Aranthor Mountains pieces, took high-res photos of them, used them as a base for the terrain, and then added this is a toxic pool that's in there that's like this, and there's the plain side. So it was playing with this, with caverns pieces, and the cage expansions, right? It was an excuse, like the cages were a huge hit in Dungeon of Doom, and this was an excuse. He's like, well, we need to have like pen all these crazy animals. I'm like, oh, cages, we'll do some new cages. So we could do these curved, Eli did some really neat curved cages, woo! And then this guy is the curved one with the door. Right. And this one was a really fun gag, right? So we already had we had the straight existing one, but then we did the one with the burst out bars, so you could, have the monster break out, or even worse, you just leave the thing with the bars, and they're like, well, where's what was in there, or whatnot. So that was in there, and what was neat too is we got to we bundled them up as add-ons that were just the new pieces, so you could just get the new stuff, or you could get the set was like each set was kind of a cool collection of pieces in that biome that just was a way to give people yet another sort of configuration of stuff that was hopefully useful to them. And we combined some caverns, Aranthor stuff plus caverns banks to show how those kind of played together. We got the foam core risers were in there from Hellscape. Those hadn't come out yet. We put a couple of those in there to rise things up. Then in the cave section of this thing, it was like a neat collection of Caverns Deep pieces plus all the scatter. Like that, the thing has, I pulled it all. It's like all the cool scatter from KS1, KS2, KS3, KS4, KS5, KS6. Like it was every kind of barrel that you could imagine. We had it because there was all this whole storeroom. So it was like this awesome. We had stuff from the tavern from the city. We had stuff from Caverns Deep, the alchemy stuff. We had the mimic bits. We had all these there's just a huge. I couldn't even get it all here. Like we have just a really cool collection of scatter bits in that alchemy. The cavernous alchemy lab is like full of good, like a lever from Dungeon of Doom. And then what was fun in there is Michelle did these two cool pieces, the arcane power core, which of course is freestanding, so you can use this as a base for any of your other JST pieces, or put this in any of your other JST bottoms. So that was a really neat. She's also Michelle sculpted, and this thing, which I think is my favorite new piece in the whole kit caboodle, was the Hellfire Furnace, which has these like cool, another Michelle awesome piece with a cool hamster paint job, like the clear tubes in the back and this bowl and the removable bowl, and like this thing is awesome. You know where this looks really cool with is if you take the Greek fire projector that Michelle did in Cities and put it on top there. It looks like just like this crazy fire cannon mobile device. It's awesome. And so that was in there, and then we repainted some barrels to have acid in them. The water barrels became acid barrels because who doesn't need acid barrels? We did an acid texture patch, which was kind of a fun thing we hadn't done. Like these were kind of a neat excuse to just pull together a bunch of
very specifically themed stuff.
Yeah, that were things that we kind of wanted to do anyway. We put one of the lanterns from castles into the cavern socket wall, so that was like a fun just giving people another way to get a lantern. Plus all the good pieces, 6x6 floor, the kind of gives it was just like it's the cavern encounter in particular had like just a great collection of pieces.
Yeah, I think the Alchemy Lab was my favorite part.
Yeah, well, the Alchemy Lab accessories are just awesome.
Just
like, who doesn't want all that stuff?
Just a really good room.
Yeah, and then we got into the dungeon, and it was a nice, it was. I did build a month for. It's coming out for next month using the Sinister Dungeon layer plus a classic Dungeon Core remastered. Boy, that name of that set just rolls off the tongue. And it's like it was a fun. It's just good to build classic dungeons. But what neat stuff for the dungeon was one, we got to make these manacle. Let me see this thing. Right, a pole accessory manacle. So one end's a pole accessory, the other end's a manacle, and you can actually put it over the mini's limbs. So we made these things with a chain, and this where's the whole necro set? Where'd it go?
Like the sacrifice table and stuff, or the
experiment. Yeah. All right, so we got this guy. And then these has pole accessories too, so you can put the gargoyles on there or any of the stakes. Like you can totally dress this thing up. It's like a blank slate, blank slab of stone. This thing, the bucket of limbs, table of tools, like some weirdly specific stuff, but also just like fun to put anywhere. This guy, the crazy experiment. He's got like a chicken leg and he's all dissected and falling apart. And then these phylactery staffs, which are these are like the what was his name? Errol Ostis, the guy who did the pre-basic set, the cover art for that stuff. That was like kind of psychedelic 70s style D&D art. These things are like straight out of that. That's why I was really excited by them. They were I love these things. There's 4 of these things around, like just like that, those kind of cool, weird, specific bits that you want to have lying around all over the place. And we put a chest in there. I forgot. They just got everything. It's got a bed, a chest, and the door, the runic door. Like this was a good. It's fun to just be able to jam in, like make a set that has like fun stuff from all of our various lines.
People are asking if you cut yourself.
Oh, it's red. It's red Sharpie.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it looks like right. It looks like a bloody mess. No, it was. We're working on Cities 2. We need a secret code name for. We need I don't know what we're gonna call it. The next Kickstarter, C2. But anyway, I was marking stuff up in a red Sharpie, modding, taking existing pieces and cutting holes in them and stuff, and doing crazy. So. Yeah, I thought I would cut myself a couple times to look at it, but no, it's just red Sharpie all over the place. I can't handle a pen and not get it on myself. Like it's. Anyone else have this problem?
People are saying so. It can't be Blue Harvest because we're using that for the sci-fi set.
Oh yeah. Go on.
Fringe, Outlands, Outskirts. It depends on like whether it's outskirts. It'll be easier once we know
it's a
what
code
exactly
name. We need a
we're
code
making.
name, not like we need like. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Do we want a code name or do we want
Yeah, we don't want people to know about our that everybody already knows.
Okay, let's call it.
You just want a fast internal abbreviation that's not KS8 because it's not the 8th Kickstarter, it's the 9th Kickstarter.
And won't give away what we're making.
KS 6.66. No, just like shorthand.
Desert.
Yeah, you're terrible at this.
Gotham. Project Grayson.
Project Grayson. Now that'll get confusing.
Brought up.
Well, yeah, we used Mildlands in the meeting as describing an area.
Yeah.
Wow, this is fun.
They're saying we could call it KS9.
Yeah, but then that confuses people also.
And we don't want more confusing.
We want to get away from. I don't want something that we'll hold on to after the Kickstarter. It's just sort of a quick working title right now while we're discussing it because we don't want it. We want to get away from calling things KS and a number because it's confusing to most, like any new person that comes in or whatever, and like it's all starts to blur together into a thing. So I don't know what it's going to be.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
What? Purple Harvest.
We should do sci-fi after KS8 and make it the 9th Kickstarter so we can call it District 9.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, just for the gag, we'll do it. Just like,
All right. Yeah, you did it. Now sci-fi's not happening until after KS8.
Fine. Just because of the name.
Call it Foundations. Foundations isn't bad. New city buildings.
Yeah, Asimov. Oh, no. I thought you meant the sci-fi. I was like,
not sci-fi.
Oh, yeah.
We'll call the sci-fi set Electric Sheep.
But then it's only a dream. We could call. I don't know. Well, these are good problems to have. We will figure it out. So I guess first question is: does anybody have any questions about Plaguestone? Maybe I'll build with some.
Build stuff for fun.
Build some stuff for fun while we talk with. Cause we have all this stuff.
I'm curious if anybody went just absolutely ham planet on like the thorn walls.
Wait, ham planet? What's
ham planet?
What's ham planet?
You know, going ham planet.
No, I don't.
It's like,
you got to dig into that one.
It's like,
what?
It's like a.
What?
It's
where?
You know, it's.
Does anybody in the world say this? It's just like that.
It's like more than going ham.
You're going ham planet because you're going to sci-fi. Like you've gone to another galaxy.
It's like going beyond ham.
You've just gone ham planet.
Yeah, you're like going ham planet.
You've fully gone ham planet.
Yeah, if anybody's just like gotten like an absolutely like ludicrous amount of like wall of thorns to make like really intricate mazes or not.
Yeah, I want to see that. Ham planet. Oh, it's the best. I'm gonna start making some space. Yeah, does anybody have any Plaguestone questions?
Are the Vine Lashers teardrop inserts?
No.
They stand on top because they're meant to move around, right?
This is the Poison Bloom and this is the Vine Lasher.
Yeah, so the Poison Bloom's a teardrop insert. The Vine Lasher is not. When is Plaguestone 2? Well, whenever they make Pathfinder 3.
Yeah.
Well,
you know, we kind of. So here's the interesting thing, from a business standpoint, we didn't. The pre-sale didn't do so well. I think we had like 600 people pre-ordered, and then like 100 of them never came back and actually finished their order, or didn't pay for the full thing. And a lot of it is because we didn't advertise.
We're so used to Kickstarter and the way that Kickstarter like kind of comes with free promotion.
Well, we were like, in the middle. We were like, it was all happening while both we had Hellscape and Gen Con kind of all. It was like all just. It was like a 3-card pileup, all at the same time. So like we didn't really.
And there was still
we didn't do any advertising. Yeah, we were still trying to ship Cavern Steve. It was just like it was a perfect storm of bad timing. So we didn't really tell people about it very well, and we didn't do a great job with Paizo of like keeping them in the loop and delivering things on time. Like we were extra late because of COVID and just everything. Caverns Deep was running late, which drove everything else late, and it was just the whole thing was we didn't give it quite as much love as I wish we could have. For variety, or just just sort of.
We were a small team that was very ambitious. Still a small team.
Still
Although
very
now we
ambitious.
actually-
Wait, what's
although
changed?
now we have somebody who we brought on specifically to help with marketing, so
Yeah.
that should help in
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah. Well, having a bigger team and having Andrew, all good things.
Andrew's been great so far.
With these neat little these transition terrain trays, which
Yeah.
have two different sides of forest to. Yeah, Jen did a good job with these terrain trays.
They're gorgeous looking.
Mm.
Love the pre-sale. Please do more. I passed on the pre-sale because I mistakenly thought you were just repackaging existing sets.
Well, see, that's it. So that's a great example. Like we didn't message it well. Like we didn't say, "Hey, we've got some cool new, we've got some cool new pieces. We've got some cool new configurations." Do we mention new pieces? It's the first time we've done new pieces outside of a Kickstarter in Dwarvenite.
That is fair. We're very used to the Kickstarter model as like how we do things.
Yeah. Well, and we were deep in a Kickstarter. Like we were just, yeah. It was. Yeah.
We do have a Plaguestone question here. The biggest curiosity about Plaguestone is why the Poison Bloom wasn't included in Wildlands. The Gnarled Tree was duplicated, so why not the Poison Bloom, Vine Lasher, and Log?
A couple of reasons. That's a good question. I didn't want, like, I don't know, I felt weird because it wasn't out yet. Like we hadn't shipped it. I felt weird offering the thing when we hadn't shipped it yet. Like people hadn't even gotten their stuff. So it was like, I don't know. It seemed like it wasn't. I don't know. I didn't know. I don't know. It just felt like weird to start again. Plus, we ordered a bunch. So like because we had minimum orders to do and our pre-orders weren't very high, so we have a lot of stock. So I was like, well, why are we going to just sell this stuff again in the Kickstarter when it's going to be available on our web store shortly? So that was the other thing. I was like, well, there's, we can already put it into circulation. Why not get it out there? And people, like, I don't know, aren't you happy to be able to spread out the purchase and now you can buy this stuff? Because you can buy just the pack. Like, it's literally just the new stuff. It's the Vine Lasher, the Poison Bloom, and the Log are in a pack together. In the pre-order, it was a steal. We underpriced that thing like crazy.
Yeah. Which is actually something people brought up. They brought up the price jump for the plants specifically, and there was some concern about whether that was going to happen with Wildlands. Every time that we're making these things, we never really know what the cost is going to be. We kind of have to try and predict it, more or less.
Well, we get estimates and we get things, but like, and then sometimes we have to guess, and sometimes it's but like, until you're actually gone through production, you just don't know. Like it changes.
So, it was mostly the paint job on them was the rough thing, right?
Yeah.
But the nice thing was
it was actually the castings turned out to be harder than they thought, and the paint jobs were harder than they thought.
But what was nice about that was that made us more aware of the challenges with tooling and painting those things. So we were able to take those into account when it came to Wildlands. So we're never going to get the prices 100% right, but we should not be as caught off guard as much as we were with the plants.
Well, here's the good news is for you guys is the prices only go up. Right, so like, if we get something wrong, it means you got a better deal in the Kickstarter. So like the good news is basically the way to get the best prices is if you go in on the Kickstarter or you go in the pre-order, that guarantees you the best prices, and it's gonna always sort of go up from there once we actually figure out manufacturing and whatever. So it once again just sort of you know if you want to lock in the good prices, you do the Kickstarter because that's your best chance we'll make a mistake. And have to, we'll live with it.
Once we've actually done the production run, we know exactly how much that stuff costs.
Yeah, and then it's actually even harder doing another production run because we tend not to have the same volume, so it just costs more, and it's a whole thing. What am I going to make here?
Just for a lot of reasons, Kickstarters and pre-sales are better to get in on.
Yep. Yeah, the people who got those plants in the pre-sale made out like bandits. I think here's another one. We have the new and improved stilts are in Plaguestone, so they've got the black metal. I mean, who doesn't love black metal? Black metal tops.
That's gonna do really, really
And
well.
I don't think it's gonna come off. Yeah, they're selling like crazy in Norway.
Yep, I was gonna make the same joke.
Ah,
I was gonna use Finland, but like
yeah,
Norway.
fair.
Yeah. Let's see.
You ever see Vegan Black Metal Chef?
No.
It's kind of exactly. He's really into seitan.
It seems like he would hate Ham Planet.
He it's pretty amazing. And yeah, there's a lot of he uses a lot of seitan and like big ridiculous sacrificial knives to cut everything.
We've got
Sings all of the recipes in black metal style. It's awesome.
we've got another Plaguestone question, and we've got one that's non-Plaguestone related, but is related to Wildlands Pledge Manager.
Okay.
While we're reading the chat, begging to see two waterfalls stacked on top of each other, or next to each other, or across from each other. I think we have pictures and stuff of that out there. Is that a thing we'll have time to?
You know what? There's a sample on the sample builds page. There's a double waterfall, I believe. Near the bottom of the sample builds page on our on the Wildlands website.
Sample builds page, the bottom of the Wildlands website.
Yes, I believe there are two there. I think we don't have. It's still. I think it's still the fundamental promise. I don't know if we have two actual finished complete.
I saw some
Waterfalls.
stuff sitting by Aaron's desk. I'm not sure.
Those are the paint masters.
Those are the
we
paint
can't,
masters.
Like,
We
yeah,
can't.
yeah, we
All
can't.
right,
We can't.
Yeah. If those
Yeah.
break, we're done.
Yeah, no, those I can't chip. Like those gotta like get the.
Okay. Yeah, we're a little short-handed on the actual pieces ourselves here, just because we had to make everything ourselves this time around. What was the other one? How did you find working with a third party on this project? Aside from issues that have just been mentioned, it could be improved. Is it something you'd want to do again?
Yeah, they're like Jason is awesome, and it was really fun to work with those guys, and yeah, it's really it's neat across the board. It's like I don't know, I'm all for. Why did somebody have an idea of someone we should team up with?
Yeah, and I mean, we did a lot of collaborations with Wildlands, and collaborating, generally speaking, we're just kind of, we tend to like collaboration a lot. It's our office culture. It's something we look for pretty often.
It's everything.
But when it comes to doing stuff like Plaguestone, like, so much kind of has to line up, right, to do something like this. And then you're talking about like the timing too, like the time it takes for production for our pieces makes it kind of difficult to do.
Well, we started that. The initial talk was in September of 2018. And where are we now? Or November 2020.
It's finally hitting stores.
So that's 2 years and 2 months or something. Like, and that was also, there was a pandemic in the middle of that. And,
yeah.
You know.
I think so much stuff got. It's the fact that not only did we overwhelm ourselves with so many projects at once, then the pandemic hit while we were in that state, and it messed everything up.
Yeah.
Is that the same log? So that log is a different log than the one that's in Wildlands. They are.
So the one in Wildlands is the bigger cousin.
It's bigger. It's got a flat bottom, I believe.
Yeah.
The one here can be rolled over. It's completely rounded, so you can do it from a bunch of different angles, and it's smaller. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So very different use cases.
Wildlands, Plaguestone. This one Nina did. This one Eli did.
Oh, I didn't realize they had different sculptors.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's the magic of Dwarven Forge. Many little hands.
What else do we got here? There's a lot to keep track of. I guess planning another third-party pre-order thing anytime soon? I don't think we have any plans. Yeah.
Dude, right now we're just trying to get...
We're still trying to catch up on everything.
We're just like one day at a time, right? Like, I don't know if you guys noticed, there's like a pandemic raging, and like we're trying to like, trying to limp our way through this and get Wildlands fulfilled.
You know what though?
I know.
Today, officially,
they shut New York City schools.
Wait, did they shut down the schools today?
Yeah.
I was wondering. I was expecting them to do it over the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it took this long, actually.
Yeah.
But in better news,
yeah,
we've now fulfilled and got everything into the store that we need to worry about until Wildlands. We don't have any other of those projects out. I mean, we have the new configurations coming and stuff, but Caverns Deep, Hellscape, and Plaguestone are all done now.
We don't owe anything to anybody we don't have, except for Wildlands. But we got we got $4 million worth of $3,500.
It's just Wildlands now.
Yeah.
It's just one.
Yeah, it's just one. It's not bad. Don't worry, I'm sure we'll find some way to complicate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we promised a sci-fi set.
Yeah, but no timeline on that. We'll talk about that on the sci-fi episode because I don't know. There's a lot we got to figure out.
Final word on Waterfall casting color. We're not going to be able to have it until they have our information from the pledge manager. Basically, they need to know how many they're making of it before they'll give us an answer.
Bird.
What I can
bird
promise,
is the word.
Yeah, bird. What I can promise is that we are going to make sure that that we have clear instructions on how to paint it, however it comes out.
It will be translucent in some form or another, but whether that's clear or blue, we do not.
Yeah, it's just we only have so much control over it when it comes to the factory. Which is also why we can't say for sure what the Aranthor casting color is going to be yet, because it's easier on them, and what they would like to do is just have it all in Dungeon Gray, even though it's slightly more convenient for us to have it in, OG Aranthor, basically.
OG Aranthor.
OG Aranthor.
That's that could be your stage name.
OG Aranthor.
Yeah.
We've decided on the Discord that OG stands for Original Granite when you're talking about Aranthor.
I support this message.
A lot of people saying that we should make a set with Critical Role.
Funny that I don't know. This is 3 Dungeon of Doom. Somewhere between Dungeon of Doom and Caverns Deep. I asked Matt if he wanted to do a set or any pieces, and he was like, I don't know. I'm kind of busy. And then I asked him again a year after that, which is in Caverns Deep or something, and turns out he's gotten even busier since then. So
I feel like the thing with trying to do Critical Role is that since the show is made up week to week, it's hard for us to prep new stuff for him, and so then the answer would be okay. Well, then it would be designing pieces around.
Well, I wanted to take an area and be like, hey, what's your favorite area? And build a thing or whatever, or do something for the show that's gonna come. When is the show coming out? The animated.
The animated show. I was like, every Thursday.
No, the animated show. Do something for that or some there's some ways, but right now, I don't think it's feasible because they'd want an astronomical licensing based on sort of our other interactions in terms of their marketing license department. I don't think we couldn't afford it.
As it's grown, it's gotten more difficult to just kind of.
No, we would. It would be price prohibitive to do something. Yeah. And what's the problem is it's out of their hands now. If Matt had said yes 3 years ago, it would have been doable. Now it's it's a machine that's bigger than any of them, and they're it's not an option. Yeah. Skynet has become self-aware, and it's
Critical Role is how I first found out about Dwarven Forge. Yeah, that's the thing. It's one of our longest running and probably most fruitful collaborations, just in terms of partnerships, for sure. I guess. Absolutely. I don't know what the proper word is, but wondering if there's a chance we could see the Wyvern Stone with some Underdoom builds.
Wyvern, no N.
Wyvern Stone with Underdoom. I guess because that combines both Drift Stones, yeah.
Oh, and just cool spikety blue stuff and whatever. Yeah. We should, what we should do? Let's collect build requests and do a build requests episode.
We could do that next week, honestly. Yeah.
If we're That's not nuts. Yeah, gather up people's build requests of that. We want to see Wyverstone with whatever. Or we want to see whatever with whatever. And we will deliver the whatever.
Start keeping a
If we do anything, it's we deliver whatevers.
Wyvern Sun with Underdoom. Can put that in there. You needed to tap Felicia Day when she was in. She'd be fun to work with. She also seems incredibly busy all the time, though.
Facts. Yeah, what is a third party that would be cool to do something with?
It'd have to be somebody where, we could design like a focus set.
We talked to Wizards for a few minutes, and then that got blown up by WizKids.
Yeah. It would have to be somebody who creates a world, basically.
In a world. What happens in this world, Chris?
If you let it be me, I'm going to say that we should do deserts and tundra. I really want to do deserts.
Your dry sense of humor just never gets old.
Relic Blade collab.
Oh.
Hamster and I actually had an idea when we were playing Relic Blade.
There's not a big audience, right?
Yeah, but I was talking to him and was like, what would be interesting. We were playing it digitally, and I was like, the Wailuli Were-Tigers are kind of like a really good fit for Relic Blade. But yeah, I don't know what that would look like. That'd be interesting though. Work with TSR Games. What does TSR Games do?
Wait, who does TSR? How does TSR exist? Didn't they get? Wait, what?
Maybe that's the joke. It's TSR Games.
Well, did they get? Because they sold. Wait.
2 supplements to D&D. Was an American game publishing company.
Yeah, it was, but they bought.
So they're gone.
Yeah, they haven't. TSR hasn't been around forever, as far as I know, unless someone resurrected.
I'm part of TSR, not a joke.
What does TSR still make?
Yeah, wait.
now,
What is TSR now? How come Wikipedia's talking like they're dead? The town of Honeywood from VLDL. They're being sponsored by Wizards of the Coast on their D&D YouTube.
That's amazing. Wait, Wizards of the Coast it's gone full circle. They
team up with a miniature games company, Moonstone, Arkworld, Malifaux, Goodman Games.
Goodman Games is not crazy.
Whoa, wait. What if we I'm blanking on the people making the current Star Wars stuff. If we're moving into sci-fi.
Fantasy Flight?
Fantasy Flight. That's it. That could be a way to do sci-fi interiors.
Yeah. They are they're big. Fantasy Flight churns out a lot of stuff. I wonder what they'd be like to work with.
Fantasy Flight doesn't make it anymore? Oh, it just changed? Oh, who makes it now? How did it just change? Isn't it like wasn't Fantasy Flight the third company that was making Star Wars tabletops?
Who's doing it now?
It's Atomic Mass Games now.
You know, here's what I... Talk about being wildly unprofitable. You know who I'd love to... I mean, maybe not wildly. Maybe it would work. Probably not. I would love to work with... who's got Shadowrun now? Is it Catalyst?
Oh, Shadowrun would be dope.
That would be really fun.
Yeah, it's Catalyst. Catalyst Game Labs. Isn't that also who has BattleTech?
Well, originally it was FASA, was both of those, I believe, and then maybe they turned into Catalyst. I don't know.
Yeah, Catalyst. Yeah, Catalyst is also doing BattleTech.
Yeah, so that makes sense. They're from the same.
Whoever has Shadowrun now just released a supposedly terrible edition, though, right? Oh, well, maybe it'd be better with terrain.
Yeah. Make it.
CD Projekt Red for Witcher builds would be pretty dope, but I feel like we already made most of that stuff. It's not terribly... working with them specifically to make minis of, like, their creatures would be fascinating. I'd love to see Nina, like, sculpt a Leshen. That'd be incredible.
I don't know what a Leshen is, but it sounds good to me.
I'll show you pictures eventually.
Eventually.
CD Projekt Red for Wildlands. Ooh, yeah, actually, if we're talking, like, villages and, like, smaller, rundown buildings, a Witcher aesthetic wouldn't be a terrible idea for it. DCC is hugely popular, so Goodman Games would be cool. People doing the new Baldur's Gate game. Oh, Larian? neat designs for the mind flayers. Yeah. Oh, Baldur's Gate 3 is like, like the whole thing is about Illithid. Like to start off, and it's
I saw that
the opening cutscene is phenomenal.
That trailer or whatever, where they're sailing around in a nautiloid, just like grabbing people.
It's very, very good.
Dude, it's awesome. You know, I always thought Spelljammer was stupid, but then I saw that and I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Spelljammer. Witcher monsters would be great. Yeah.
The what monsters?
Witcher monsters.
Oh, Witcher.
Like the Leshen and stuff like that. Like they have some really, because they're pulled from a completely different mythology than like we're used to. You know, it's all like Polish. 'Cause I don't know, it's a lot of fantasy tends to pull from the same well.
Yeah.
So it's really cool when you see stuff come out of like a different place. Larian is probably so deep in licensing with Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, I guess that's another thing to think about is they literally are making that game with Wizards.
Witcher?
No, Baldur's Gate. But like it's literally a Wizards game.
Well, it's D&D, yeah.
Yeah. Space Hulk spaceship. Space Hulk could be fun.
That wouldn't be nuts. The problem is I don't know when we find time to do like that's the problem. Like Plaguestone was ideal because it fell to Magic time and it was stuff we could do with it's 95% existing pieces. It's only
Starfinder.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, it's a lot, isn't it? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Huh, it's 15, 16 new pieces. That's a lot.
It's a fair amount, but it's also, when you compare it to how many are in there, like the actual size of the product that we got to make was something a lot bigger than 16 pieces.
Yeah. Well, because there's 100 and something other...
If it had only been for those 16 new pieces and they wanted to try and make like a whole thing, would have been rough. When would we expect to see painting videos for Wildlands? Closer to when the delivery date actually happens. Because the main thing is, when we get into production run, we have to make sure that the factory is able to do the paint schemes. So we don't want to put videos out and make like a definite, like, this is how everything will be painted until we get it back from the factory and we know, like...
that it can actually be painted.
That they can actually do it. Because if we put those videos out and then it turns out, they're not able to do this, we have to change the paint scheme, we have to do the whole videos over again. So it'd be closer to the release.
Well, also, it doesn't matter. Like, there's no point in doing it until you can actually paint it, right? Like,
Will there ever be painting videos for the Fiddly Bits?
Which Fiddly Bits?
Fiddly Bits. I imagine set pieces like the Black Rot tree and stuff like that, where it's like for the Alchemy Lab Fiddly Bits.
Oh, the Plaguestones. I don't know.
It's interesting because when it comes to those, you're talking about like a different process for each piece. With terrain, it's one thing because you're talking about general steps that you can apply to a bunch of pieces.
Well, Aaron, we were just literally the other day talking about sort of winter projects as things are slowing down, and more paint videos is on her list of things that would be interesting to do.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it'd be more time conducive to just have like, or if maybe it'd be good to at least have like what paints were used for this. Just so people at least know where to start. Oh.
I wish I had anchor blankets. Thanks.
It's indestructible. But when it comes to like a video for each piece, it's a little difficult.
Yeah, but we could do like a Fiddly Bit collection.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know.
It's also one of the things that's easier on streams as well.
Put your request on Discord and we'll see what...
I do know there are some things people have wanted us to go back and do that we never got around to. Stuff like the mushrooms in Caverns Deep. There's been a lot of requests for those.
Dude, she did, no joke, I think she did 20 different paint schemes on those mushrooms. I was beating those things into the ground. It's just like, we just kept trying. It just wasn't like, it wasn't cool enough yet. It wasn't like, I don't know, they were just like, we tried so many different things. It was like, it was insane. Like we've done more paint schemes on those mushrooms than anything we've ever tried before. It was like, which, when you see the final, you're like, it looks cool. I didn't think, like, it was, you would never guess it was sort of so hard to figure out what the heck those were.
Are any of those old paint schemes still around anywhere?
I don't know.
Because that'd be kind of cool to see some of those.
It was unbelievable. It was so many. Yeah, and then the sad thing is like her original paint job versus what the factory is able to do is it was really like, yeah.
Well, that was one of the lessons we had to learn with Caverns Deep, right? Was that we had to simplify things for the factory.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a wizard, that Erin.
I think it's also one of the things that can be beneficial from videos and stuff too, though, and just expanding our resources for hobbyists in general, is kind of tutorializing content. To just like, even if you get things factory painted, to be able to punch
tutorializing. I like that.
It's one of the things we were hoping to do with like the streams.
The verb of to make a tutorial, like
to make a tutorial.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
expanding content for hobbyists will be huge for wargamers. That's another thing too. Is wargamers are, generally speaking, much more likely to also be hobbyists than RPG players, just because so much of the wargaming hobby involves painting your own minis or assembling them.
It's funny the term hobbyist because RPG is a hobby, but
yeah,
I know.
But it's
the art of like sitting
and hobbying is like the part of interacting with it that isn't playing.
Yeah, sitting and building cool stuff and making painting your minis. And
you have to assemble and paint so much as a wargamer.
All
being better about the paints and having resources there for how to make our stuff look cool. We're taking steps in that direction. I hope that we get to. I hope that we have the bandwidth to like really double down on it, because I think we're pulling in a lot more. Hobbyists and painters recently. Ooh. Selling Dwarvenite bits for wargaming, maybe. Funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
That's something we've got planned. I don't know what the timeline on it is at this point, but especially with sci-fi coming, because like the reality is, it's, if we're talking about sci-fi, a majority of the sci-fi market is wargamers, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yep. 40K.
But we do want to make wargaming sets that make sense from as many of our different biomes as possible, because like we would love to support it, because we have a lot of pieces that make really great scatter. We have wargamers like without us actually having targeted wargamers at all, like over the history of the company, really, we still have wargamers that get our stuff and use it.
Well, we've got like the rabbit burners of the world.
Yeah. So our stuff can be used for wargaming, so we should make that as easy as possible, right?
Too logical, Chris. It's too logical. We have to make it as hard as possible.
People are trying to give us money, Nate.
We have to make it an uphill battle. If we're not sweating for it.
There's so many cases where people are trying to give us money.
Yeah.
And we just make it so hard.
Well, like by just burying stuff on the website in like this indecipherable maze. It's like a yeah. A herd of minotaur jealously guarding our stuff behind an impenetrable maze of a website.
Having paint in stock in general would help. Even good picks on the website's helpful.
Don't we have paint in stock?
I think there's some that are missing, and I think mostly people are worried about the Wildlands paints not being available when Wildlands comes out and stuff like that.
That's a fair concern.
Yeah. And another thing people were saying is if we end up not casting Thor in that blue, and they want to make it match, if we could have that as a paint, so they don't got to like mix for it.
Like giant batches of.
Yeah, just being able to get that as a base paint.
Fair.
Which wouldn't be a terrible thing. And I know Hamster and Aaron both want a couple more colors to round out the collection.
Yeah, we keep saying the same things in circles. We got to just either charge more for the paint or do something like because we're not making.
Something about it has to change. We just need to like decide like what it is. I'd like having a mystery pack of fiddly bits.
Ooh. Problem with a mystery pack is like our stuff is expensive. Like you don't want to throw down $50 and get stuff that like the wrong sorts of fiddles. Yeah. It's like I don't know.
It also, from the warehouse perspective, is an interesting thing for them to manage.
Well, it couldn't be. It wouldn't be a bucket that they would just dig their hand into and through. We'd have to package.
We just rent out a corner of the warehouse and like, yeah, the bucket of random pieces.
Well, that's our at Gen Con we do the random piece bazaar and people love that.
Yeah.
Would we here? This is a thing Jay has brought up a couple of times. It's something maybe we could do. Would people be interested if we did like a New York City classic, like a stoop sale here? Like, would people come? If we said, hey, we've got all this stuff, like, weird loose bits and stuff that are in sale or whatever. Like, we've got 100 pounds of Hellscape stuff and 200 pounds of Dungeons, like all these things. Would people come and buy Dwarvenite by the pound, like from the back of in our parking lot?
We just
like,
have a clearance sale.
Yeah, we'd set up like a pop-up tent in the parking lot, and you just like come and we'd have the scale, and you just buy the pound.
Like a little table off the side with lemonade and cookies.
Yeah.
People seem very into it. Some people
you'd
say
have
maybe
to come
make a
to
trip
Brooklyn.
New York City for that.
Yeah.
What does the factory do with pieces in the molds that don't fit a pack? Don't they?
There's buckets of stuff over there that sometimes make their way here. And
post-pandemic bazaar. Oh yeah, we'd have to wait for the pandemic to be over.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just nonsensical.
Well, or you could have zones and like one person at a time in a zone. Although people are touching all the same. Yeah. It
creates.
Yeah, no, we can't do it right now.
Because we couldn't rely on everybody to be completely safe. It's more fun with the risk.
High risk, high reward. It's like.
It's really looking forward to Gen Con this year and buying a stack of Dwarven Forge. Not having conventions has been wild for us.
I don't think there's gonna be. I don't know. What are the bets? We should take bets now. Is there gonna be an in-person Gen Con?
We apparently have 2 vaccines that are approaching viability.
95 or
They still got to get through peer review and all that, but.
Well, people have to actually take them, and
then it's a production thing and actually rolling it out to enough people, and yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot, and the problem is I feel like Gen Con has to book stuff like, they probably have to be booking now.
I'm not expecting Gen Con to be a thing.
I don't know. It's just such a huge thing.
I'm really wondering how many conventions just aren't going to come back after this.
Oh, dude, don't say it.
I'm sure most of the major ones will be fine, but a lot of those like indie conventions, I don't know. Like it's an entire industry. Like
no, it's really like it's not pretty.
Yeah. I'm not expecting anything to happen until near the end of the year. I'm expecting it to be. I'm telling myself to just plan for it to be like another year. All this, and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. But I don't think I'll be incredibly let down.
I'm pretty much assuming that there's just never going to be conventions ever again. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's not in the immediate future.
Yeah. A lot did a virtual convention. Not sure how the finances worked out, but they were in existence. Yeah, I saw a lot of people. They were doing they would host a lot of the people who do like convention sales. They would have like virtual.
We did that like Gary Con thing and.
Yeah, there were virtual conventions that happened.
It's just not the same, especially and also like physically. Like I don't know. I want to go meet just hanging out with folks, like seeing you guys in person and being like getting to shake people's hands and hear their stories and whatever. It's can't really do that the same thing in a remote digital version. / our stuff doesn't like you gotta touch it in person to really appreciate it.
Yeah. And it's a massively different thing because like we can do these streams and these streams help, but at the same time there's 94 of you right now, and we can't respond to all of you, and we can't have like real conversations this way. We can get close, but it's not the same thing as a convention.
Yeah, and there's I miss conventions.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to them, but it is what it is. You heard it from Nate. Next on the Anvil will be on Zoom. God, could you imagine us getting all the people that usually show up to these streams on one Zoom call?
How many people can Zoom?
I think you can have 100.
I'm kind of into this. Is that crazy?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's not going to be manageable. Have you seen any of the times that people have tried to do like large scale Zoom calls for?
I've seen my kids try remote learning.
It's a mess.
One
of my friends does these game awards Zoom calls every week. Jeff Billy like bring on different guests. Yeah, it brings on like a different guest every week. It's always a surprise. And then some people get selected to be able to ask questions and stuff. And it's just so many people.
And the logistics and like how do you
logistics of it, and then you also like people are much more likely to just be there to do some real stupid stuff, like when it's over like a Zoom call, than when they're like in person.
Didn't the WWE have a bunch of problem with that? They had this thing where they're like they set up the arena, but they didn't have anybody physically there, so they had all these screens, right? Computer screens, and you could dial in and be on the screen and see
Ellen did something like that too.
And then people were putting like some crazy stuff up on their screens, like
it's the very early. It's way harder to hold people accountable when it's over a screen.
Yeah.
But man, the early days of the pandemic when they just had completely empty arenas and no audience noise. And these dudes still just going Ham Planet on the microphone.
Ham Planet.
Ham Planet is way more fitting when you're talking about wrestling, I think.
Yeah. No, wrestling originates on Ham Planet.
Yeah.
Like it's
And they're still going like all out, like
full Ham Planet.
Yeah, and it just goes to complete silence in between all of it, and they still hold the pauses just as long, like 20 seconds of staring, but there's no audiences like roaring around it or anything. So it's just this awkward silence between two like absolutely jacked men. It was a surreal experience.
It's as a performer, it's got to be really hard, like to not have, the energy of your.
I guess we never really asked Ember about it or anything.
Yeah, we could.
But she's been doing a lot of streams.
Yeah.
So, it's something. The NBA Zoom thing was cool until people abused it. Some guy mooned everyone on live TV on the NBA. Oh man.
Yeah, see, that's...
MLB had it right, just cardboard cutouts of people in the seats. Yeah, making it look like a PS2 game.
Dude, how about PS1? Now that's where it was at.
PS1, it's just like fuzzy circles in the stands.
Man, we had... PS1 was unbelievable at the time. Like, it was...
It was groundbreaking, man.
Yeah.
You're talking about having, like, cutscenes and all that stuff?
Tomb Raider,
Metal Gear
Tekken.
Solid. Tekken was,
These are...
Everything going into 3D and...
Yeah. No, it was like... It was... Yeah.
I still think the PS2 is a better console overall, and like has like the PS2's library has like probably the strongest solid there's well over like 100 games that are genuinely like
all-timers.
Like you should play this. Like,
yeah.
PS1 they were still figuring it out, but man, the early PlayStations were great. PS1 went to polygons from sprites. That was huge.
Well, you had to figure it out to get where they were.
It was also the first disc-based media as well for games.
It was awesome.
And all that. It's really funny now that Nintendo has gone back to cartridges.
Really?
Yeah, because the Switch uses cartridges. Because cartridges have cartridge technology has like advanced enough that they can fit like a ton of stuff on there now. So they're not really like majorly outclassed by discs as much anymore as they used to be. We now need a pig pen in the city's Kickstarter.
A pig pen?
I think it's because everybody's talking about Ham Planet.
Oh, Ham Planet is...
Upstate Virginia? What part of Virginia is considered upstate?
Upstate Virginia. That's the best.
Or take it to Pennsylvania. The era of the 2D side-scroller died with the PS1. They're making a comeback, though. There's a lot of good indie side-scrollers now. Because also sprites... Oh, what is it called? Is it called... There's a term for like these super high resolution, like impressive pixel art that we have now. Like Children of Morta has gorgeous pixel art. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's high something. I can't remember what it's called. But like the graphics have like evolved into just such a ridiculous.
Well, everything, game design and theory and. Yeah. Oh, people can't see what I'm building, can they? Oh well, it's not that exciting. I'm trying to do a full 45-degree cavern over here.
Oh, it's completely on the wrong side of the table.
Yeah.
Braid was good. Yeah, Braid was kind of the start of that. I mean, yeah, Braid kind of created the indie game scene as we know it. That was the first one to really take off like that. Your 3080 makes all things better. I'm so jealous of you. I tried to get a 3070, and that stuff was sold out within seconds.
What's a 3070?
Graphics card.
Oh.
I'm still using a 960. It's like 5 years old, and it's held up all this time, and it's still great. I can run most things. I really desperately need an upgrade. Like the 3070 is like literally like 8 times stronger than the graphics card I'm currently running, and this isn't important. There's no upstate Virginia. It's just Nova and the rest of Virginia. Nova's a pretty cool.
No, North Virginia, Nova.
Yeah. Missed the
Wouldn't it be Nover?
What's that?
Wouldn't it be Nover?
Nover.
VA.
Well, it's the.
Oh, VA.
Yeah, VA.
Yeah.
Hey, we should talk about Tasha's.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Tasha's came out a couple days ago.
Did anybody get it? A couple days ago,
I got
yesterday. Yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
It was yesterday.
I'm counting it as 2 days ago.
Oh wait, what day is
because
today? Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah, I'm counting it as 2 days ago because Tyler and I read it at midnight. So it was before we went to bed that night.
That's cheating doing it digital.
How's it? We still got it physically. It showed up the next day, but we got all the information.
Yeah, it was up on D&D Beyond too, I think, right?
Yeah. It was a midnight launch. Yeah, D&D Beyond dropped a bit earlier.
That was an interesting. So they do this. The cool thing with having the alternate covers, which you can only get at the friendly local game store, to encourage people to go to the game stores, which is it's such a cool I really like that Wizards is trying to keep game stores alive and do their part in that. But I guess the problem, I was talking to Lauren from 20-Sided Store, and she said, it's not as big a draw. It depends on if people like the art or not. Like, it's not just like they automatically want to get it or whatever. But she said the other problem is, she said, because they don't get it early, it's not as big a draw as like Magic releases a week early. The Magic sets release a week early in the game store, so that gives you incentive to go. She's like, I wish they would give it to us a week early, and then people would like really, if you get it sooner than you get it at Amazon, people would go to the game stores and actually buy the books. Like, it would be a whole big reason to go there.
That's a good point. Because it's not like people wouldn't buy it. It's not like people would just not buy it if if Amazon wasn't the fastest way to get it. Yeah, they would still get it on Amazon for the convenience.
Yeah, sometimes people should get it, but it would give that extra incentive if people were kind of
they're on the fence or just whatever. Like, it's like, well, okay, now I guess I have to because I want to get it a week early.
Yeah.
But anyway,
point is, I think it's my favorite book so far.
Oh, it's amazing
going through it.
Well, it's everything. It's Xanathar's like on Ham Planet, right? It's like it's just
Xanathar's.
It's everything's. I feel like everything's kind of.
It's just more. It's like,
I don't know. It's got everything. It's awesome, right? Does anybody not like it, or is there any like?
I mean, there were the complaints, but I don't think it was anything ever actually rooted in the actual content. As far as like the actual content goes, I mean, they added a ton of subclasses. Like, it's unreal how many.
At least 2 per class.
Yeah, except the Artificer only got 1.
Fair.
But the
didn't somebody get 3?
Fire
Clerics?
got 2. Rogue got 2. I think Druid got 3.
Circle of Stars.
Spores and Wildfire.
But Spores was in.
It was a UA.
Spores was in Ravnica.
It was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Why
it's
did they put it
Golgari.
in? I guess
They,
so
you know what it is?
just in case.
They rounded up some stuff from like a bunch of the spells were like some, I don't know, they took some stuff from Sword Coast Adventure. Like I feel like they rounded up a bunch of stuff to support the Adventurers League or whatever, the Player's Handbook +1 or whatever. I feel like they rounded up a bunch of the loose stuff and put it into
all right, that makes
thing.
sense. Okay,
But it's still if you're including all the stuff, like it's 3, right?
Apparently Cleric got 3. The editions feel really nice. Feels sort of like a 5.5 update without having to reprint the full books.
Yeah. A lot of really. Ranger got like a huge overhaul.
So apparently what they did was they took everything from the adventures and put them into Tasha's. So I guess this is the first like source book to have these things.
No, Ravnica definitely had spores.
But I think
and the
you're
Artificer.
I think you're talking about with some of this stuff because like
like all the spells
just an
and like.
or
Yes.
so it hasn't been in a source book yet. It's only
Eberron's
been
a source book. It's a campaign.
Isn't it a campaign book?
Isn't a campaign book a source book? I guess.
I guess I'm talking about like the ones that are like these are like rule books as opposed to adventures.
Yeah. Well, and Ravnica is.
Well, no, Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron is right there. See, I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, it rounds up. It's a good, cool, diverse collection of interesting options across the boards.
Ravnica was a setting book like Theros and Wildmount.
And Eberron.
Want to play as an Iron Man Artificer? Yeah. Artificer got the Armorer, which is an interesting...
Didn't they already have the Battlesmith? What's the difference?
So Battlesmith is about creating tools more often that I think can be used for other
Armor is like Iron Man.
Yeah, Armor is like, you have two options. You can either make a suit that makes you more like a... more tanky, or you can make a suit that makes you like a higher DPS, almost like a semi-rogue.
Cool.
And those like develop over time, and you get like the roguish suit makes you better at sneaking around, and you get like a ranged like lightning attack, and you get like some bonus damage on it potentially. It's not as much as like doing sneak attack, but and then the other one is like better for damage mitigation and stuff, I believe. I can't remember all the details. It also got some new spells that are cool. A lot of the new spells are cool, actually. Also, a lot of fighting styles. Paladin's got 3 new fighting styles, and one of them, Blessed Warrior, is fantastic.
There's that's the one where you get cantrips, right?
Yes.
And the Ranger got the Druid, Druidic Warrior, and they have the blind fighting and thrown weapons, and Interceptor.
Interceptor is a very good fighting style.
And there's unarmed. It's just like, they're so cool. Like it's all this flavor. Like
my Paladin's current fighting style.
Aren't you like basically Interceptor? Aren't you?
So my fighting style is protection, because I built them like entirely around the thing, and so I was looking at it.
Shield guy.
Yeah, I built my character entirely around a shield.
Although the Interceptor can do it with a weapon too, which is cool.
Yeah, well the thing with Interceptor is like looking at it, it almost feels like Interceptor is just a better version of what you get from protection.
Yeah.
Because first off, it's a guarantee that you're doing something with your reaction. With protection, like you're just giving a disadvantage.
Well,
and so they might still hit. The thing that protection has that is great is that you can negate critical hits with it, basically. Like if they get a crit, you make them reroll it, even if they still hit. Like they're not critting, you know. But with the Interceptor, like you can guarantee that you're reducing damage, like every time they get hit. And
what's it? Is it D10 plus your thing or something?
I think it's D10 plus proficiency, or is it D10 plus half your level?
Bonus or something.
I can't remember the exact math, but it's a D10 plus something. And so like getting to remove that potentially, like a lot of single like melee attacks you can just completely negate with that.
That's awesome.
And so you can guarantee that you're reducing the damage. So it just kind of feels like over time it's just pound for pound better than protection.
Plus, it just sounds cooler.
Yes.
So that's important.
So I've been debating whether I'm going to change to Blessed Warrior, because I would love to have Told the Dead, and maybe Sacred Flame is my second one. I don't know, because I currently have no range, and I would love to have magical options that aren't concentration.
Yeah,
most paladins.
Paladin world.
Yeah, most paladin spells are all concentration. So.
Well, what's fun? I like that they have the sort of mechanics for changing. You know, when you hit 4th level, whatever, you can shift some things around. Like it baked in some nice I don't know. I think there's just really like a lot of fun. It just seems like a lot of fun, player friendly choices
Yeah.
were made.
Well, and it's interesting because a lot of the changes they made in regards to ability scores and all that were things that people are already doing homebrew anyways.
Yep.
It's like what we've been doing with our
Yep.
game. Like we haven't really cared about that part because it's like the idea that like you're gonna have a harder time playing this class as this race no matter what is just less fun. Like
Well, also it's more interesting if people, instead of basing your build off the min max, you're doing it off like what's my theme, like what's the concept that I want to make, what's the story I want to tell with this character.
it lets you get more specific with the stuff that you're making. Yeah. And so
or
if you
just go against type, still be the elven archer, but like just dump your decks and make it or whatever. Like you can just you do something really.
You're not like railroaded into having character traits that you don't necessarily want to have based on like race. And even then, like it's still, and there were complaints that was like ruining the game when that was initially revealed because they're saying like, oh well, then there's no reason to ever pick a race. It's like, well, no, there's still racial traits.
Well, and flavor and heritage and lore,
and also it's optional rules. You don't have to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you can ignore any of those rules.
Like,
it doesn't affect anything that's happening at your table at all if you don't want it to.
The Tasha's freak out was one of the dumbest. But
sounds like a dance move.
Tasha's freak out.
Yeah,
it's one of the new spells actually.
It's the hottest dance on Ham Planet. The kids are doing the Tasha's freak out.
Elven Barbarian for that charm advantage. Ooh, actually. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It opens up a lot more possibilities, and I'm very excited about it. Also, like, the section for patrons is really interesting as well.
Group patrons.
Group patrons, yeah. Like, because it's kind of a thing. Like again, in our game, like we have a patron, and so we've been like doing this kind of thing, and it's kind of cool to have just like a sort of this is all the ways that it can influence things.
You know what I think I'm excited by the puzzles section.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be a bunch of neat ideas to kind of leap up. That was what's him? Lisa Teague led the charge on the puzzles. And it's like, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Just a nice reminder, like to some cool inspiration for doing puzzles in your game, because I love those kind of challenges.
Because puzzles are always like a hard thing to figure out how to do, right?
Well, you know what? The saying is there's two kinds of puzzles, too easy and too hard. Right? It's like trying to hit that sweet spot. But like what was neat, like in the puzzle section, there's skill checks to give you clues baked in, which is like just a smart thing of like, hey, here's if you're gonna design a puzzle, here's some ideas of here's 4 things you could do to give people, give players some clues, but like let them use their skills to get some clues so it feels warranted or justified or interesting or whatever.
It's just the hardest thing to pace, right?
Puzzles.
Like, because it's...
Well, throw monsters at them in the middle of the puzzle, then you're talking.
Yeah. Like combat is an easy thing to pace because it's so much of it is number-based. But how do you affect the rate at which they're processing information?
Yeah.
And, clues are one thing, but if somebody just isn't getting it, like, what do you do? And I think the best solution we've come up with is to just find a way to make the fail states or not being able to solve the puzzles not stop the story from progressing.
Yeah, you don't want it to be a binary thing of like...
If you don't figure out the puzzle, like, the game's not over. Or like, we don't stay here forever.
You just don't get the... you don't get the special treasure.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Or you don't get the jump on the bad guy.
Yeah.
You still get to fight the boss, but you don't get the... Putting
like a time limit on it, and then after a certain point, it's like, all right, we're moving on.
Yeah.
And this thing is going to happen. It's rough.
Well, in LARPing, people did puzzles would pop up, and generally, it was that same thing. Like you quickly learn, if you're gonna run 6 different groups to a thing, like 4 of those groups might not get the puzzle. So it was you never made the puzzle like the binary thing of either you get it and you think, or you're kicked out of the module. So it was always sort of like the same sort of thing of like, well, you get the extra, you get the advantage if you can solve the puzzle, you get the extra treasure or the thing, but like, you don't just all die or get kicked out of the adventure if you don't get it.
Yeah. What are you making over there?
I don't know. It's a why don't you fit?
Let's see.
Trying to jam. It does work, sort of.
Patrons seem like a much more fleshed out version of what was introduced in Dragon Heist.
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar with Dragon Heist. I think I stole one item from it, but that was basically it.
They had a.
I stole an item from it for our Dwarven Forge games, actually.
Huh.
And I took. There's like a little medal or a little badge that an organization in, I think it was in Dragon Heist. When it like lets the person in charge of like the organization like know where you are at all times and stuff.
Yes.
And if it is taken off of you for long enough, it teleports back to them, that sort of thing. Freya has one of those, but we made it a thing. We made it a story thing for the satyrs in that world.
That was like their cultural
Yeah.
thing they did as a group.
Just stole that idea entirely.
Well, it's a good one.
It's a good idea. It's a cool concept. What was the floor you used, Nate, on the yawning portal in the center?
Wow.
That's a throwback.
Yeah. That is there's a link on our YouTubes of the building of that. It was a custom job. A bunch of foam and tool dip and took a bunch of city builder floors and a scroll saw and cut up a bunch of city builder floors, cut a hole in 4 city builder floors, and then built a thing out of foam. And Aaron did a little paint on it. Yeah, that was a while. That was a fun little. Speaking of fun third-party collaborations, that was a fun collaboration. Of like, hey, see, we were gonna do more regular stuff with Maze Arcana, and then they sort of fell apart a little. But that's a good one. I don't know if you find there's a link somewhere on our YouTube page. There's a video of making the making the yawning portal, building
the yawning portal right here. Dungeon developments.
Huh?
Oh, this is an entirely different thing. A Dwarven Forge yawning portal, and went to this other channel, Dungeon Developments, building the yawning portal. All right, behind the scenes, Sirens of the Realms yawning portal. Excellent. There we go. Is there a giveaway today?
Yeah.
People are asking. Excellent.
Yeah. What are we giving away?
One sci-fi set.
Oh boy.
I don't know. What do we got?
Well, funny you should ask. I don't know. What Dungeon Remastered
something
Core.
from Plaguestone? Dungeon Remastered Core?
I don't know the stock in any of the Plaguestone stuff, so I can't just throw that out.
We'll see how it lands after the week. And
yeah, I don't want to promise a thing that, I don't know.
Excellent. All right, so Dungeon Remastered Core set. What's the word going to be?
The word is going to be Ham Planet, one word.
I knew it. Ham Planet, one word. Get it in there, guys. It's going to be a chat full of Ham Planet. U.S. only. We need to have a U.S. address we can ship it to.
Yes.
If you are overseas and you have a friend in the U.S. you can ship it to who can then pass it on to you, that's perfectly fine. Ham Planet to enter for a Dungeon Remastered Core set.
Ham Planet.
Whenever I remember 3.5, all I can think of is Monkey Grip.
Monkey Grip?
When I played 3.5, I was always just a player, and I never really actually looked into the source books. So I really couldn't tell you much about supplementary content in 3.5. My DM handled all that.
Yeah, I played not. Maybe I ran a couple of 3.5 sessions,
There's stuff that I missed from it,
yeah,
but I understand
The
why 5th edition is
crunchiness.
the one that took off.
yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess the whole game took off, but like, why 5th edition is this new wave. It's definitely a lot more accessible. Monkey grip, the feat that let you wield large weapons, dual wield two-handed weapons. Oh wow.
That's bonkers.
Okay, that makes sense. In Fabled 42, I play a game on there, and one of the players, that this completely puts into context one of the arguments that they have all the time is the DM won't let him dual wield great weapons.
Well, because they're great weapons.
Yeah,
Because it breaks
and so
the
that
game.
that explains where he's getting the idea, and also why he's not letting it happen.
Yeah, because no.
If you play 3.5, Monkey Grip is so broken. Yeah, it sounds like it. You're rolling, man, like
You're like a D12 with each hand,
that's ridiculous.
plus all your
Well, if it's 2d6 on,
greatsword.
yeah, like that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, plus all your bonuses and modifiers.
Just don't look at the grappling rules. I liked grappling in 3.5.
Yeah, my brother was one of his favorite characters was like a straight grappler monk.
I feel like 3.5, and maybe it's just the way we played it. I don't know. I feel like 3.5, it was easier to build a character around very specific bizarre things.
No, it was all designed
I
for
built a
breaking
character-
the system.
I built a character entirely around use rope checks.
That's awesome.
Like, it's so fun. 3.5 had all kinds of crazy feat combos. Yeah, I do. There was one player who did play entirely around the idea of like breaking the game, and he kind of ruined it for a lot of other people, so that was unfortunate. But for the most part, we just tried to make like really weird stuff work.
Yeah, it was a system designed to make really weird stuff work.
There's a ton of cool splat books for 3.5, but not having a handy compendium for it like the Pathfinder SRBD makes it hard to manage. Still run 3.5 when we can play again in person. I'm trying to remember like all the different. It's been like 10 years since I played 3.5. Did play a 3.5 Chain Fighter.
I love
Interesting. Yeah, no, I was a character who just spent his entire time using rope and handling animals. That was all I did.
Monkey fist. What was it? Monkey grip.
Monkey grip. Monkey fist.
That's on Hand Planet. You gotta.
I love that movie. Captain Ham Planet, he's our hero. Gonna take oinkers down to 0. This has become a real problem.
This has become a real problem. This has become awesome.
Rod empowered, sudden max size, divine meta magic, persistent greater dragon's breath. Is that a combination? It sounds like a combination. Like 3.5. So much of that, I stayed blissfully unaware of a lot of the back end of the game during that. Dex-based fighters in 3.5. I've been playing a Dex fighter, in 5th edition. It's fun.
I love fighter in 5th. I think they really did
So
it.
for fighter, I really want to play full caster at some point, but every time I play a game, there's always other people who are like, I only play full casters. It's like, okay, well I guess I'll be the tank again. So I just keep consistently playing tanks. So like as a fighter, I'm still like our tank, which is why I went Dex. But yeah, fighter's my favorite class, and I love all the subclasses. Can never decide which is my favorite. I'm playing a I'm playing a homebrew subclass. It's a combat medic that Underground Oracle made. It's a lot of fun. It's basically takes the healer's kit and actually makes it like a useful item.
That's awesome.
To keep track of. And so literally you get like a bonus action if an ally is like injured within you. You can bonus action dash or disengage to like get to them.
That's cool.
And use an action to like patch them up real quick. And so you're just like alternating between taking like fighter attacks. It's like, all right, this turn I'm doing 4 attacks, and then the next turn I'm running halfway across the field and patching somebody up with a med kit. It's fun. There's a lot you can do. You can tank as a cleric. You absolutely can. A cleric, I think, is the only... Clerics and druids, I think, are the only ones that can tank. Wizard, sorcerer, warlock, I'm not really expecting to tank. You might be able to get away with it with the warlock, actually. Depending. But...
How?
It's just a lot of luck.
Yeah. I don't think that counts.
No, I think druids and clerics are the easiest one to tank with.
Yeah, we need heavy armor.
Like they're built for it. Yeah, heavy armor. And then druids, you can also get away with it just because like wild shaping, like your health pool can get ridiculous.
Oh, it's like it's cheating.
You can basically tank the way a barbarian tanks with a druid. Bards can sort of, given the correct build. That's true. I always forget that bards are a class.
Dude, I love the bard class.
I know, but I like... Whenever I think of, like, a list of classes, they're always the ones that I leave out. Even though I know bards are in the game, like, they feel so disconnected from the rest of it for me for some reason. I don't know why.
You must be thinking of first edition. Where it was, like, this weird multi-class combination that you could, if you could pull it off, you could be a bard, but it was, like, this rare...
Especially when they are barbarian druids with wild-shaped bear. Yeah. We've been talking... Okay, so... We've been talking about what our next game is going to be when we wrap up this one. And we want to do this kind of homebrew approach where it's all talking about like the way that like magic like interacts in the world and like using the magic in different ways and like shaping magic to in different ways based on like what your personal strengths are. And so we're talking about having everybody be either a half caster or a full caster.
That's cool.
But everybody is basically
Everybody's
going
got
to
magic.
be... Yeah, but everybody's basically going to be a homebrewed class where it's essentially you pick your primary stat and you pick the school of magic. And so you could be
so
like...
you could be a dex-based caster?
So we're all casters. Everybody's
Yeah.
a caster no matter what. But you could be like a strength caster. You could be a dex caster or a con caster. One of my favorite ideas is con transmutation. And it's literally
That's
somebody
cool.
who just,
Changing your body.
Yeah, changing parts of their body and just like being like a wall. Basically.
That's cool.
I like that concept. I think that might be the one I try to play. Another one I've thought of that would be interesting.
You'd be really good. Your concentration checks would be really good.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's the thing. So that's why I feel like this is wall. Like this is the one you don't get past, and it's somebody who just keeps like.
You never drop your concentration spells.
Yeah.
You're just all con. You're 20 con.
We need to try Gestalt PCs. I've heard of Gestalt, but I've never looked into it. Let's see. What was the other one we thought of? Setting up like a Dex illusion would be interesting, and it would be kind of like just a magic rogue.
So it's David Blaine.
Yeah, basically. Let's see. All con all the time. Constitution is one of those stats that I think players don't realize is as useful as it is until they've played for a while.
Oh, cons like, yeah.
Like it's one of those things in our game. Because everybody in our game, it was actually like their first time like actually playing a campaign, outside of me and Tyler, and people like they just didn't realize how important Constitution actually was, because
hit points and saving throws. Like...
Yeah, well they never. First off, they didn't realize which saving throws were going to be the most common and like what those saving throws would generally represent. But then it's also there's no skill checks to it, and it's not really a primary stat for a class in any way where you think about it. Like there's no class where when you're building it they're like make sure you have a high constitution outside of like barbarian, which none of them were playing. But now like all they're doing with their ability score increases is just boosting their constitution because they're like I need more HP, and they're all casters, and so they're like concentration checks and all that.
You shouldn't have drank the poison.
Yeah, basically. In one of the campaigns I'm in now, I'm a 70-year-old vampire hunter, and we use the venerable rules where I lose con, strength, and dex, but I gain intelligence and wisdom. Interesting. So much fun role-playing the old man vamp hunter. I believe it. Wish there was a closed poison bloom scope to allow for surprising players. Ain't nobody gonna see
that would be cool.
That'd be cool, but...
That would be really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot. But I don't know. I like the idea of kind of delving into what each school of magic really is. And one of the things we also wanted to do was there's a homebrewed school of magic, again by Underground Oracle, called Cruromancy, which is blood magic. And so the entire thing,
like sanguimancy.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not educated, but it's entirely like con based casting, more or less, and the entire thing is about using like your blood and your vitality to kind of affect theirs and like give them disadvantage on saving throws and stuff like that.
That's cool.
And you can take damage to yourself by pushing your blood too hard in order to increase like the effects of your spells.
Overcrank.
Yeah. And so we were like, well, we need like a companion school of magic for it because we want each school of magic to have kind of like opposites for this whole thing, for like the purpose of you can't like if you specialize in one school of magic, then like the opposite school of magic you have a hard time just grasping it all, sort of thing. Which is still like it's all like homebrew that we're still theory crafting, but I think there's a lot of cool potential there.
It was like opposing schools of magic is a fun.
I played a Venerable Cleric before, got to teach my DM about the offensive applications of plane shift.
Ooh.
I was particularly fond of sending living foes to the positive energy plane.
That's awesome.
Everyone get in for Ham Planet? Oh, yeah, I guess we could roll that
Yeah.
giveaway now. Alright. The Ham Planet giveaway is rolling.
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun.
It's Odin Forge DM.
Yeah!
Who's that guy?
Odin Forge!
Unfortunately, it's not the Six of Clubs. Gestalt is a rule best used for small parties, 2-3, where you pick 2 classes. Interesting. I need to read through that rule. It's a variant rule. Okay, so it's a homebrew thing. Take 2 classes at every level, choosing the best aspects of each.
Whoa.
Interesting.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to look into
Crazy.
that. Yeah, Odin. I'm gonna whisper you if you can get us your email address. We will get your stuff sent to you.
Congrats.
Actually, I think we might already.
It's like a late birthday birthday present.
Yeah.
I think his birthday is I think his birthday is Halloween.
His birthday's on Halloween?
I could be making that up.
Interesting. We have a 2-player party and a side campaign. That'd be interesting. Alright, that's sent. It's official rule set? It is? Gestalt kind of... That does seem very cool. I want to try it at some point.
What book is it in? Oh.
I think it's a homebrew thing. It's a variant rule. It's based on a variant rule from revised 3rd edition's Unearthed Arcana. So it's an old 3rd edition UA, so possibly not even something they actually made it in.
No, that was when they printed the Unearthed
Unearthed Arcana was like actually
I'm
officially...
assuming. Well, that was based on the first edition Unearthed Arcana.
So it doesn't exist in 5th edition, but this is them just taking it and updating it to 5th.
Nice. Well, I have a big pile of stuff here.
Choose the larger hit die. For example, a Ranger Rogue Gestalt would use the Ranger's D10 instead of the Rogue's D8.
Wow.
Proficiency. Your proficiency bonus is based on a character's level as normal. Choose your skills from the skill list of both classes. Whichever class gives the greater number of skills, you choose that number of skills.
That's or you just like take the best of every world.
You just take the best of each class.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really fascinating.
I don't know what I built, but I able to think.
It was official in 3.5, but homebrew for 5e. UA was a real published book. That's kind of cool that they brought it back as their tested content thing.
Well, the Unearthed Arcana was to 1st edition what Tasha's is to 5th edition.
Yeah.
That was
was that revolutionary?
It had the Barbarian, it had the Thief Acrobat, it had the Cavalier.
The Barbarian wasn't in 3rd edition?
First.
Oh, 1st edition.
Yeah.
All right.
it had a whole bunch of new weapons. It had a whole bunch of new spells. It had, what else am I thinking? New magic items. It was like, but the classes, like having the thief, acrobat, the cavalier, and the barbarian, was really cool. What else was in there? I can't remember.
I really want to do a
and
cavalier.
the cover was bonkers. It was like,
I really want to do a cavalier or like make a character based around Mounted Combat at some point, but it just seems so unwieldy because it's like, how do you do this in a dungeon, or how do you do this?
how do you do what in dungeon?
Play like a mounted character.
Oh yeah.
Like,
it would be tricky. I'm gonna go off the. Let's go look at what's.
Yeah, go for it. Let's go in close on the sniper.
Whoa.
Oh. Ladies and gentlemen. There we go.
How much slack?
Yeah, just make sure you've got.
I don't know what I built here, but we're gonna look. At
You had fun. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Make a halfling mounted a dog. Should fit in a dungeon just
I
fine.
had a halfling, a ghostwise halfling that was mute. He had telepathy because he was a ghostwise halfling, so I talked through telepathy, and I wrote a dog with a whatever a halfling lance was. So I cheated. I put a second Hellfire Furnace in because this is like evil dice. This is dice jail.
Nice.
Yeah. I tried these things. I put like the oh man, I can't focus.
What if they bust out?
They're on roll.
Yeah.
Put the cages in the curved wall sections. That put a wall of thorns around the thing. Other fun stuff. I don't know. It's just like playing with the Plaguestone bits. It gets lively over here. Here's the best part. I just have a pile of junk. I don't know what like. It's just like I was like, I don't know. I didn't have time to figure out where to put the fiddly bits. So there's just like someone like, it's like they're burning house and they threw everything out on the lawn.
Everything on this table is in Plaguestone, right?
This is a full Plaguestone set plus one Hellfire Furnace.
Yeah.
And
So that cage door.
Castings.
Yeah. So that cage door is in Plaguestone.
And there's a whole bunch of pieces I didn't use. A log from Wildlands also in here. But this is the fun gag over here. Let's see if I can do this.
Pile of mimics.
Oh, Mimic Colony. So this there's some fun reason to go to the palette core here, whatever. But what we can do is we lift this. Let's see if I can pop this off here. With this guy off, and the tunnel from the you enter here, and then the tunnel gets you into the cavern under there. He's a fun one.
The necromancer is doing some spring cleaning.
Yeah.
Having a yard sale.
So the yard sale, and then this was kind of fun. There is and then there's another entrance over here, because why not? But what's neat is the whole cavern is offset by 45 degrees. Let me see, because I came out of the.
Oh yeah. You did like a little slight curve coming out of it. Yeah, you look at the grid.
There's a 45 degree turn here and a 45 degree turn here, and so this whole thing is off at 45 degrees from the rest of it, which is kind of fun.
That's excellent.
Yeah, just playing. And then there's a whole bunch of terrain trays, a bunch of dungeon pieces, a bunch of stuff left. But just nothing better than having a bucket of pieces.
A mimic spawning colony. There's always the find steed spell. That's fair. The main thing is, like, if you're talking about corridors, I love the idea of, like, mounted combat is such a huge part of, like, warfare in general. And so just, like, the idea of somebody just, like, riding across, like, a field and fighting that way. And it just feels weird to build a character that is only effectual, like, half the time.
Yeah.
When it's a thing where it's like, well, we're in an environment where I just can't really do things.
Well, it depends on the nature of your campaign. But also, that's also kind of the fun, right? Like, you're kind of like, you're having a tough time because you're going down this thing in the sewers, whatever, and then finally you, like, get out and it's like, you're on the field of battle. And it's like, okay, now I can, like, come into my own. And, like, I told you Grayson chose for his steed, refined steed.
The porcupine.
The giant porcupine.
Yeah.
Ouch. Like, bonkers. Like it's just the best. It's the best thing about kids is like, I'm like, you can have your like majestic warhorse, or like, maybe I'll be really generous and let you have a Pegasus or something like that. And he's like, I want a big porcupine.
My first character I ever made rode a bison.
That's awesome.
Because it was one of the first encounters that we had, and I used rope to tie it up after we knocked it unconscious, and then I stabilized it, and then basically we Stockholmed it.
That's amazing.
And so I had a bison mount, and then...
Well, have you ever seen a bison in real life?
Yes.
And we were driving through Yellowstone Park, and there were just bison, like they were just like, roaming free. They were 10 feet from the car. The thing is as big as your car. Yeah. They're absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Like,
and I was a gnome.
So the opposite of absolutely massive. You were a 40-pound gnome on like a 1,000-pound bison.
And then, like,
how much do they weigh? 1,200 pounds. They're enormous.
And then go on a year, and I've enchanted it, so now it's a flying bison. And
of course,
I've also paid to enchant its horns. Like, its horns are now keen, and also cause an explosion on a critical hit. And so it's more likely to crit, and then also explodes things. And the first attack roll after we did this was a critical hit.
Of course.
And it just demolished, like, the
But you'd had this bison forever. Like, you deserved that.
Yeah. I kept this. I fully barded it. It was like a challenge rating, like 1/2 like creature, and it's like, all right, we're all level 11. Yeah. Like, I'm keeping this thing around
with barding, and just, like
keeping that bison alive.
Bison are like, that's a good choice.
They do a fair amount of damage, like with their base attack. Like they're big.
Do they have a charge attack?
This is a long time ago, but probably.
Should.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tyler got a bunch of creature cards, and he just has them like all laid out on our bookshelf, like in like, okay, here's the pile of like things that Chelsea's gonna shapeshift into.
Yeah.
Here's her polymorph like list. Here's her, just like all this stuff, because she always like pulls out all these random animals, and never knows what the stats are.
Yeah. Well, it's right there on D&D Beyond or whatever.
Yeah. But then it's a whole thing, and he just likes having cards.
I do. I like a physical thing. All right, let's wrap it up and go home.
Beans before the end? I don't really have any beans. We haven't sculpted anything new, really. We're kind of in between.
Beans.
We already dropped the Bard Sung bean.
Oh yeah, we had it.
Yeah.
Bard Sung is your bean for the day.
Yeah, we haven't really no Insight into Cities 2 discussions. We haven't done like the big summit yet. We kind of just
we have the Great Dwarf Moot on December 3rd. Too early. Like, stuff is still, the clay is still soft. Like, it's too soon to start. But here's the thing. Here's what I will promise you. From one bean slayer to the bean eaters, we're gonna show stuff for cities on here even sooner than we were showing stuff for Wildlands, right? When did we started showing Wildlands? Like,
the first thing was like near the end of February,
and we launched in
because we did on the
Anvil,
and you were. I think the first thing we did was like Mocking Waterfalls.
Yeah.
But then the Oblivion Nexus was also early on, so that was February. It
was 5 months later. So I think we will probably early in 2021 we'll start showing some city stuff on the Anvil.
Gonna relink Bard Song real quick.
Yeah. So we got some.
Yeah. So basically,
be coming. We just need to get like, we need we have to have some stuff to, like, I don't know. We gotta sort some stuff out, because I don't want to shoot stuff too early, because like things change a lot, and like if you saw the waterfall, like that was like.
Well, because we're literally still at the point where the sculptors are all digesting things and trying to figure out what they want to make. We haven't even done like. Yeah, we aren't even at the point where we know like what we're making yet in any capacity.
It's fundamental geometry and style right now. It's not even like anything yet. Yeah. But it's
we have no
there's
beans.
some fun.
We have no beans to give.
No beans yet. They'll come.
Yeah, but the Bard Sung bean is that Nate and Eli are apparently designing an adventure for Bard Sung. But yeah,
It's gonna be fun.
Any plans on playing some D&D with fans?
Oh, well, first of all, we owe 2 games.
We gotta do the Wildlands games. I think once we're done finishing up the busy things for the end of the year, it'll be easier to like organize that.
That would be a fun. How would we do like a random drawing?
We could do a random drawing. We could do it over. I'd say we could do it over Vorpal, but I'm not sure if they're gonna have computers that can run it.
But if we're not streaming.
Well, it doesn't have to do with the streaming thing.
Right, so it's peer-to-peer, like everybody, it drags
it's
down everybody
whether
else
their computer is capable of processing like the dice and all that. But so that's the thing is, I guess I would check in with the players and see if we can do it through Vorpal. We can do it through Vorpal. If not, we could do it over.
We could
Discord
also
have a.
Say, hey, you can't enter in the drawing unless you have these certain specs, in your computer or something. Or just we could do it on Zoom.
It kind of sucked to hold it off for that though.
We could do it on. We could do it on Zoom or something, and
there are solutions. We can do it like really cleanly over Discord and stuff as well. Like there's absolutely
Discord,
solutions. It'd be cool to
Discord's
do Vorpal just
better.
because it's like.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, Art of War based on your rec. Hope you like it. Yeah, excellent. I hope that it's a great way to like.
Vorpal's awesome. Yeah.
You guys are gonna pick a winner. Yeah. So we're gonna. Yeah, we'll get that figured out because that's the. I think we're just making sure we have everything finished up that we need to have finished up before the end of the year. Because we got to make sure, because the factory has Chinese New Year, we got to make sure that we're where we need to be before that happens, because then they're off for a while.
A month.
Yeah.
Wow.
Have a drawing on Discord, a drawing on Twitch, a drawing on the forums. That's so many games. That's so many games.
Would it be fun to do like? Aside from the Wildlands game, it would be fun to do a fan game.
We were talking at one point about wanting to play test Sly Flourish's stuff in the Discord, but then we just were so busy that it was like we couldn't really find the time to like even like set up builds here to play through. It'd be nice to do stuff once things are a bit slower.
Well, that's the problem is things never get slower. It used to come in waves where there was like, it'd be really busy with Kickstarter and then there's some downtime. Now it's just sort of like a rapid fire.
And also when things are slow, then it's hard to justify going into the office because of the pandemic. So then it's like,
that also. Yeah.
It's the state of the world at the moment has made doing extraneous things.
Well, everything's a little harder.
Yeah,
but it's something to keep. It's a good thing to have on the back burner, or the front burner.
Do we have a stream next week?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a more laid back thing.
Stream from home.
Yeah.
Build just some stuff. Chit chat. Hang out.
Just because it's the day before.
Maybe that'll be the build requests.
Yeah.
We could if people have some build requests, of like, hey, how does this work, or what does this look like together, or whatever.
Yeah. All right, we should get going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll be doing the Hobby Hang tomorrow. We'll be back next week with a chill
What are you guys
stream.
painting tomorrow on Hobby Hang?
I think we're doing some undead stuff, I believe. I'm going to try painting some translucent wraiths and banshees that I have.
Fun.
So I think we're doing spooky stuff, basically. But
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.